The world was promised freedom, but somewhere between power, profit, and propaganda, humanity lost its soul. Civilizations rose claiming to protect people, yet millions wake up every day under systems that drain them mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and economically. Behind polished speeches, national flags, religious ceremonies, stock markets, and digital revolutions, a deeper crisis is unfolding. Not just a political crisis, not just an economic collapse.
We are so powerful. I'm gonna need you to repeat after me. We are so powerful. We are so powerful. We are so powerful. All right.
But a crisis of truth, identity, morality, and human consciousness itself. The modern world moves fast, too fast for people to stop and ask dangerous questions. Who truly benefits from this system? Why are nations rich in resources but poor in living conditions? Why are citizens divided while the powerful grow stronger together? Why does humanity possess more technology than ever before?
Eric Garner! Eric Garner! Eric Garner! Eric Garner!
Sandra.
Sandra! 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 Black Lives! Black Lives! If Black Lives don't matter,
Nobody matters.
what do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Black Lives!
Matter.
Black Lives!
Matter.
Black Lives!
Matter.
Yet suffer record loneliness, anxiety, violence, and despair. The people vote for hope, but inherit disappointment. Nations are ruled by men who speak of freedom while negotiating chains behind curtains of diplomacy. Politics was once presented as service to the people. Today, in many places, it has become theater, a performance funded by corporations, manipulated by lobbyists, engineered by strategists, and sold to desperate populations as salvation. Election seasons arrive like religious festivals. Promises flood the streets. Smiles become weapons. Slogans become sedatives. Citizens are taught to worship parties instead of principles. They fight one another in streets, on televisions, and across social media, while powerful men shake hands behind closed doors, building empires from division. Fear has become currency: economic fear, tribal fear, religious fear, fear of collapse, fear of each other. Because frightened populations are easier to control. The media no longer simply informs. It influences emotion, shapes outrage, manufactures enemies, and controls narratives. Truth is edited according to interests. Lies repeated enough become public doctrine. Entire societies are psychologically programmed without realizing it. Information has become warfare. And while citizens argue over symbols and slogans, corruption quietly eats nations alive. Road collapse, hospitals decay, schools become prisons for forgotten dreams. Children study in broken classrooms, while billions disappear into offshore accounts protected by laws designed by the same elite class that claims to fight corruption. Justice bends toward wealth. The poor steal bread and face prison. The powerful steal generations and receive handshakes at international summits. Corruption is no longer hidden in dark rooms alone. It has become institutionalized. It lives in contracts signed against the interest of citizens. It lives in inflated tenders. It lives in foreign deals that enrich leaders while communities remain in darkness. It lives in nepotism that rewards loyalty over competence. It lives in systems where opportunity is inherited by bloodline instead of earned. Religion, which was meant to guide humanity toward truth, morality, humility, and spiritual awakening, has in many places become another marketplace of power. Many seek God, but encounter systems built to monetize pain, fear, and desperation. Faith became industry. Pulpits became stages. Spiritual authority became celebrity culture. Desperate people were taught that miracles belong to those who can afford offerings large enough to purchase divine attention. This is a national crisis. Fear of hell became manipulation. Guilt became control. Loyalty to institutions replaced pursuit of truth. Some religious systems protect reputation more than righteousness. They silence victims to preserve image. They demand obedience even when leadership itself is corrupt. Look at Africa. The corruption is intense. The situations thereof in our nations is wanting. True spirituality calls humanity toward transformation. Integrity, justice, humility, compassion, and truth. But institutional power often fears awakened minds because awakened people ask dangerous questions. And questions threaten systems built on control. We have to fight for what our forefathers fought for. People like Thomas Sankara and many others did great things to ensure that there is stability, especially in countries in Africa. Humanity shares the same blood, yet history trained generations to fear skin more than evil. Racism became one of civilization's oldest weapons of division. Colonial powers invaded lands, extracted wealth, rewrote histories, and convinced entire populations that superiority belonged to certain races, while others existed merely to serve global empires. The scars never disappeared, they evolved. Economic inequality still follows colonial lines. Entire regions continue supplying cheap labor and raw materials to richer nations while remaining trapped in debt and instability. Media narratives shape who the world mourns and who the world ignores. Some tragedies receive global empathy. Others become statistics buried beneath headlines. Division remains profitable. Not only racism, but tribalism, ethnic politics, and nationalist extremism continue tearing nations apart from within. Politicians manipulate identity because divided populations rarely unite against corruption. Look at what is happening in South Africa currently. Communities inherit hatred from previous generations. Citizens are taught to protect tribe before truth, race before truth, ethnicity before justice, party before principle. A divided people are easier to control. While ordinary citizens defend tribes with passion, corrupt systems steal from all tribes equally. And beneath all these lies the machinery of poverty. The poor work the hardest, yet on the least. Entire generations survive but never truly live. Humanity created economic systems where millions labor endlessly but remain trapped one emergency away from collapse. Wages stagnate while the cost of living rises. Education becomes expensive, healthcare becomes luxury, housing becomes unreachable. The world praises hard work but rewards strategic exploitation. Debt has become slavery. Countries borrow to survive. You can tell by what Africa does, then spend decades paying interest while foreign institutions dictate policies. Families borrow to study, borrow to build, borrow to eat, borrow to exist. And that is why we can see that when it comes to labor, our young people are being exploited. Entire populations are born into systems where survival itself is monetized. And while the masses struggle, corporations announce record profits. The global economy grows, but the people shrink beneath its weight. Markets rise while families collapse. And that is why we are having various kinds of demonstrations all over the world. Because of the cases that are so arising that are making people lose their minds. Billionaires protect wealth in tax havens while inflation destroys middle and lower classes. Workers in poorer nations produce goods consumed by richer societies, yet remain unable to afford the very products their labor created. This is not merely economics, it is organized imbalance.